Yo guys, what is up? Battlecrew117 here, and welcome back to another Disney Infinity 3.0 news update. Now, I am finally back from my very long trip, and I'm going to be continuing videos now, and if it sounds a little bit funky, that's because I have a little bit of a cold, but bear with me as we try to go through this episode. But this episode is going to be a little bit of the news that I missed while I was away that they revealed about Disney Infinity 3.0 at E3. So if you've already seen this news and information, that's because you probably already have. I'm just reviewing it and getting my perspective on it and sharing it for any of you who have not seen it already. So, in this first image that we have, the biggest reveal that they did at E3 is that there's going to be a new Boba Fett figure that will be a limited timed release special edition for PS3 and PS4 consoles. And the only way that people with these consoles are going to be able to get their hands on this figure are buying the Star Wars Saga Starter Pack, which comes with the Twilight of the Republic playset, which comes with Anakin and Ahsoka figures, the Rise Against the Empire playset with Luke and Leia figures, which they will gain access to 1 month ahead of time, since the Rise Against the Empire playset will launch 1 month after the release of Disney Infinity 3.0. So that is one bonus to buying this starter pack, as well as it comes with this Boba Fett figure that's a timed exclusive for PlayStation consoles. Now, don't worry, all of you will be able to get your hands on these figures later on in the beginning of 2016. So after Christmas is done, then they will release it for all the other consoles. But for now, the Boba Fett figure is going to be only on the PlayStation consoles. So I'm super pumped about this. I don't have a PlayStation console. I'm going to be playing it on Xbox 360. But I'm definitely going to pick this character up when he releases in 2016. And his skill set and abilities are super cool because, I mean, it's Boba Fett. He's got a lot of martial arts, melee attacks. He's got his wrist rockets, jetpack, missiles out of his jetpack, and of course his super awesome blaster rifle. And from what I've heard, in the toy box, he will have full flight, and you'll be able to zoom around just like you did with Iron Man and all those other flying characters. But in the playsets, his jetpack will act more of a jump pack like it did in the original Disney Infinity. If you remember the jump pack from the Toy Story and Space playset, it will provide you to jump higher instead of actually flying. So that's how his character is going to work a little bit. But so in our first screenshot that we see here, we've got Boba Fett facing off against some of our heroes. So we got Luke, Chewbacca, and Han all taking on Boba Fett. And Boba Fett looks more than ready for these guys. And it looks like they might be facing off somewhere on the Death Star. So, looks pretty awesome. And I think Boba Fett, judging by just how extremely awesome of a character he is, I'm guessing he's probably going to be a pretty strong character. And so if you battle your friends in the toy box, he might be a good pick because you might be able to best your friends with him. But here we get to see Boba Fett taking on just all the stormtroopers, and in the hangar of the Death Star with the Millennium Falcon in the background. But again, he looks super awesome and is probably super strong. But we got another screenshot of him on Tatooine this time. Looks like he's marching along with the stormtroopers. Don't know how they manage that if you're playing as him, because I'm guessing the stormtroopers are going to attack you. But maybe this is a cutscene or something of him just walking through the town, or maybe you can befriend the stormtroopers since you're a Mandalorian and work for the Empire sometimes. I don't know. If that is the case, that'd be kind of a cool mechanic to add a little bit of interest to the game if you could get these stormtroopers to work for your side if you're people from the Empire. I don't know, but just my perspective. In the background, you can kind of see the shielded hangar bay of the Millennium Falcon, where the Millennium Falcon is contained in the beginning of the Rise Against the Empire playset until you are able to bail it out. So, again, Boba Fett character will be able to be played in both the Rise Against the Empire playset as well as the Twilight of the Republic playset, and eventually the Force Awakens playset, since they have introduced that you can play any of the characters in any of the playsets. All you have to do is, once you're in the playset, you just need to find his character's coin, which will allow him to be unlocked and played in that playset. So, in this picture, we get to see Boba Fett looking pretty awesome looking. He's got a little bit of a swagger in his step as he's marching away after he's hung his prize of Han Solo and Carbonite up on the wall in Jabba's palace. We've also got a mounted Tauntaun head up on the wall. Looks like Jabba's enjoys collecting taxidermy heads of species he's killed. I don't know. But, so, looks like you might be able to see Han Solo and Carbonite in Jabba's palace on Tatooine in the Rise Against the Empire playset. This is a pretty epic looking picture. Boba Fett riding a speeder bike, which is a vehicle in the Rise Against the Empire playset, being attacked by some sand troopers, or the sand troopers being attacked by Boba Fett. I don't know. But we see the city of Mos Eisley in the background, as well as that sandcrawler that we've all seen many times before. One thing I want to note is there's a little Jawa over here. Kind of adorable. There's a couple more over here. Maybe we'll be able to interact with them with the sandcrawler and actually be able to purchase stuff from them, which would be kind of cool. But if not, oh well. But that would be something that would definitely add to the game. But Boba Fett looking awesome as always. Every picture that has Boba Fett in it, he just looks incredibly awesome. And one thing I want to mention is, earlier I talked about how I really like Mandalorians because I love their armor, which is totally true, so I'm super happy that Boba Fett is a character because I love Mandalorians and he's Mandalorian and he's just an awesome character overall. But I remember in one of our previous episodes I talked about seeing him in the background, and I'm like, this is the first time we've seen a Mandalorian in this game, and it's super awesome that they implemented it, and it'd be really awesome if we had like either a boss battle or Boba Fett as an actual playable character. And then when I came back from my trip, I was like, what? Boba Fett's a character? This is great. So I just wanted to mention that because Boba Fett is one of my favorite characters. Now, this is a screenshot from the E3 reveal of Boba Fett. So in that preview, we got to see Boba Fett with the Slave One in the background, and it looks like it's on a landing bay on Coruscant, and then shortly after he poses with his blaster, he gets shot at and he blasts back and then flies off into the distance, and then the screen cuts to black. But a very cool scene indeed. Most of you have probably seen that and probably freaked out as much as I did. But I'm sure we are all super glad that Boba Fett is a character. Now our next big piece of news is that the crew, or at least most of it, of the Ghost from Star Wars Rebels has arrived in Disney Infinity 3.0. So these characters will be mostly used in the Rise Against the Empire playset, but they can also be used in the Twilight of the Republic playset and on any other Star Wars playset that comes along down the line. But I'm super excited because I'm a big fan of Star Wars Rebels. I have always meant to do episode reviews on it. I have followed the series since day one. I was a big fan of the Clone Wars before that, but I haven't gone around to doing any reviews. But I might do one soon because just recently the Season 2 premiere of Star Wars Rebels just came out, and I just recently watched it after I got back from my trip. Really enjoyed it, and I really want to do a review on it before the season starts this fall. So, here in the picture we get to see Ezra, Kanan, Zeb, and Sabine, some of my favorite characters from Star Wars Rebels, surrounded by a lot of battle droids in the background, and the Naboo generator in Theed Palace, where Obi-Wan duels with Darth Maul. But these characters look almost exactly like they do in the TV show, which is really awesome. So that means in the Disney Infinity style, the Disney Infinity style is really close to how they look in the show to begin with, and so they didn't have to change them very much to fit them into the style, which makes them look really true to their characters. I really like how Ezra turned out. You can kind of see his cool lightsaber. He'll actually, if you've watched the show, he can use it as a blaster or a lightsaber, and that is actually one of his abilities. His ranged attack, he uses the gun in his blaster, and then he can use his lightsaber and his growing force skills that he's been learning from his master Kanan, who is right here, and he looks very cool. You get to see his lightsaber. He uses lots of lightsaber combat, but he also has his blaster that he uses a lot in Season 1 before he reveals that he's a Jedi. So he has very strong both lightsaber and blaster combos. And then you got Zeb, who's the brute force, kind of like Chewbacca with his bow rifle, which turns into an electro staff, as well as a superpower rifle, and then he's got a lot of brute force melee attacks that he just beats up stormtroopers, like in the show where he hits their heads together and knocks them out. So, really excited about Zeb's character. Think he's a great addition to Star Wars. But my favorite character of all the characters in Star Wars Rebels is Sabine. And so I really love the look of her character. She's got her dual Mandalorian Westar blasters, and she's got her new Season 2 hairstyle. That's one of her things that she always does. She's an artist as well as an explosives expert, and so she is always updating armor and graffitiing stuff, and she has dyed her hair a different color than she did in Season 1. And they went with that Season 2 new look because the new season is coming out, and I'm guessing that's how she's going to be for a little while. But I love the look of her character, and I'm super excited to get my hands on her. So here we're going to get a little bit of a better look at some of these characters. We see Ezra here. He's got, if you can notice right here, the scars on his face that he got from their duel with the Inquisitor in the end of Season 1 in the episode Fire Across the Galaxy. You can get to see a little bit of a better view of his lightsaber with its handle guard and blaster inside of it. It's a little funky looking weird lightsaber, but it's got its uses. I really like this style of him. Looks like an awesome figure. And let's see the next one. So here we got Kanan in a defensive pose, looking pretty brave and ready to take on the battle. So again, he looks amazing, and they got even the details of his lightsaber down. It's exactly how it looks from the show, and his shoulder pad and everything. So I think they did an amazing job with these characters. Sabine, of course, my favorite character. She's got so many little details on her character. She's got her knee pads, the coloring, her pants, her holsters, just the different graffiti marks on her armor. She's got a little bit of a smirk on her face, and if you know her character, that definitely fits her personality. She's got her hands on her hips, and she's looking a little bit sassy. She got her spray paint gun in her hand, and she's put her foot on a stormtrooper helmet that's been tagged with one of her famous Rebellion Phoenix logo. Now Zeb, looking very taunting, like he's like, "Come on, stormtroopers, come and face me." He's got his bow rifle activated behind him into the electrostaff position, and again, looks exactly like how he did in the show. So now we get to go into the screenshots of what they look like in action and get to see a little bit of what they're going to look like in gameplay. Here we see Ezra taking on Darth Vader. Almost a little bit of reminiscent from this new premiere of Season 2 of Star Wars Rebels. If you haven't seen it, I won't spoil anything, but definitely go see it. It's definitely worth watching. But this time they're on Hoth, and there's some snowtroopers behind them, and you can see the ion cannon up above. Now we see our heroes from Star Wars Rebels play in the Twilight of the Republic playset and joining forces with Obi-Wan and taking out a bunch of droids in the droid factory on Geonosis. It looks very awesome. Love Sabine's martial arts kicks and Zeb's bow rifle. Both very, very cool new additions to the game, and I feel like their characters will feel very different in the way that they play than most other characters, especially Sabine with her dual wielding blasters, since the only other character that's had dual wielding blasters when they were leveled up was, I think, Star-Lord in Disney Infinity 2.0. So now we see the Master and Apprentice facing stormtroopers and an Imperial officer up on the top of the staircase somewhere on the Death Star. Another super cool screenshot from the Rise Against the Empire playset. The cool thing is you could play as Kanan in either one and still be relatively canon to the story if you want to, because Kanan was from the Clone Wars. He was a Jedi during the Clone Wars and escaped Order 66. So you can play as him in the Clone Wars playset and still not destroy your conscience. It's not like taking, I don't know, Darth Maul and then playing him in the Rise Against the Empire playset. I'm probably going to do that just because I think that'd be fun, and I think it's very nice that they've given us the freedom to do that whenever we choose. Now, how I was talking about it, we see Kanan and Yoda and Sabine all facing off together at the height of the Clone Wars in this Geonosis arena, facing hundreds of droids, and it's really awesome that you can take them in either playset and continue their stories however you want in Disney Infinity. That's the great thing about Disney Infinity, is the ability to create your own stories. This is one of my favorite pictures that I've got today. We got Zeb and Chewbacca working together as a legendary team. And what the funny thing is Zeb's character was created off of Ralph McQuarrie's original concept arts for Chewbacca. So technically, if you think of it in the right perspective, this is old Chewbacca and then the new Chewbacca working together. And they're very similar characters, how they have, you know, big tempers and attack like with rage, and they like rip off stormtroopers' arms and stuff. But a very good team up in my opinion, and I think that if you play co-op with somebody, that they would be a pretty formidable team if you play together in a playset. So that wraps up my news for this week. We'll probably get some more news in a couple of days, because Disney Infinity 3.0 is heading to Comic-Con, and they're going to be releasing quite a bit of news. They said that they were going to be releasing something news that we haven't heard so far. And when they do, feel free to check back here. I'll have a video up as soon as I know the news and get around to assembling some screenshots and stuff. But thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next episode.